I was very lucky that every road trip that I ever went on, I traveled with a guy by the name of Jeff Dion, who was the news guy on 22 Minutes. He was the guy who taught us how to do the news. And he's a reporter at his heart. He's a journalist. So he kept copious notes. So when I said to him, remember we went to Little Rock, Arkansas and shot with Governor Mike Huckabee, and we convinced him that the Canadian Parliament was an igloo and was melting. Jeff would go flip, flip, flip. And he'd go, yes, it was on this date. We stayed in this hotel. And the guy that we talked to, I still have his number. And then that would jog my memory. And that was an incredible resource.
You write about your relationship a little bit with Gerald. We've talked many times in interviews. You've talked about Gerald before. It literally did never occur to me that you two were together. And then you summed it up with a collective shrug. Was it hard for you to write about your relationship with him?
Well, I've always been a private person, but not pathologically so. I mostly thought if I was in the business of doing political commentary, quite often the less people know about me, the better. But I am a private person, and Gerald is a very private person. So it wasn't that I didn't talk about my relationship or anything like that. It was mostly I had a job to do, and it was to talk about what was happening on Parliament Hill, what was happening in current affairs. When issues came to the forefront, like bullying, I certainly talked about that and talked about being a gay man who was a closeted kid in school or what have you. So I didn't shy away from it, but it just wasn't, I was just never been that type of person. Even when I do stand up on stage, I'm not that person who stands on stage and talks about what's going on in my personal life. I talk about other things.
Let's talk about the tour, because literally the book comes out, the interview's booked, and then in my inbox, Just for Laughs, hosted by Rick Mercer, and you're literally going coast to coast. Literally
going coast to coast. So I'm coming there. That was one of the things on my bucket list when I left the Mercer Report. I wanted to do a major tour of the country with Just for Laughs. I had done it before, but I did it as a host, a guy who comes out and goes, hello, please put your hands together for. And I enjoyed that so much, but I was in awe of these stand-ups who were coming out and doing 25-minute sets and killing it. And I just thought I would like to do that someday. And so when the Mercer Report wrapped up, I started working on that. I started doing open mic nights. I started doing comedy clubs, and I built up stand-up sets and toured the country. And I found it tremendously satisfying and a lot of fun. And this tour was supposed to happen 18 months ago. It's been moved 5 times. I stopped paying attention, but now it's finally happening end of April and during May. And I have to say, I can't think of a better bookmark and present for my book than 2 tickets. Can you imagine the minds that will be blown on Christmas morning if they open the book and then inside there's 2 tickets for the show? I mean, gosh.
I'm curious what you do a tour, a comedy show on after we've come out of a pandemic. Are you going to touch on the pandemic, or is that like a no-go zone as a comedian right now?
I don't really know. I don't think there's no such thing as no-go. And listen, as long as it's funny, right? And I've been working on some stuff that I'm pretty happy with, but it'll be topical in nature. I always kind of go back to the topical, but the major thing is just avoid what everyone else is talking about.
Oh, well, Rick, thanks so much for your time today. I appreciate it. And
Thank you so much.
Great. It was really great.
Thanks very much. I appreciate that so much.